planned immigration enforcement targeting Somalians in the Twin Cities.
Hungry children wind up in the hands of a Somali terrorist group.
In a heavily Somali area of Minneapolis, federal agents resorted to pepper spray.
The president calling Minnesota a hub of fraudulent activity.
At 4 minutes past 4 in the morning, the city of Northbridge was still asleep. The temperature had dropped below zero. Streets were frozen. Sound was swallowed by snow. That silence wasn't accidental. 18 unmarked federal vehicles moved without sirens, headlights dimmed, tires crunching softly as they surrounded a modest brick building on the corner of Alder and 9th. To the public, it was known as Harbor Legal Aid and Migration Services, a place of help, a place of trust, a place families went when they had nowhere else to turn. But intelligence reports told a different story. Behind the frosted windows and motivational posters, investigators believed something far more dangerous was operating. Not a law firm, but the logistical heart of a regional synthetic drug network. At 0407, the knock came. Federal agents, search warrant, open the door. No answer. 4 seconds later, the breach charge detonated. Agents rushed inside expecting paperwork and panicked staff. Instead, they were met by armed sentries. This wasn't legal defense, this was security. Within minutes, the ground floor was secured, but it was the basement that changed everything. There, next to filing cabinets and court briefs, sat industrial mixers, chemical drums, and sealed bricks of a substance known on the street as white ember, a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin. This wasn't a front, it was a factory, and this raid was only the beginning. By sunrise, Northbridge woke up to chaos. Headlines screamed immigration raid. Protests began forming before the full story was even known. But behind the scenes, federal agencies had already activated Operation Iron.
Community is being targeted by federal immigration forces.
And this has a number of people in the Twin Cities feeling on edge. Bill Keller is in the newsroom with what's being said both in Washington.
Iron Veil, a citywide takedown years in the making. Over the next 12 hours, coordinated teams hit warehouses, shell nonprofits, transport companies, and residential properties across the metro area. By nightfall, 387 arrests. Yet drugs were not the most disturbing discovery. Inside the senior office at Harbor Legal, agents recovered a fireproof safe. When forced open, it revealed no cash. Instead, there was a single grain notebook. Investigators would later call it the Ash Ledger. Inside were names, badge numbers, patrol schedules, and monthly payments. 19 police officers, 6 municipal officials. Every entry detailed a service rendered, delayed response times, tipped-off raids, missing evidence. For years, residents had complained that emergency calls went unanswered in certain neighborhoods. Now there was a reason. The network hadn't just infiltrated the city, it had ensured itself. When federal vehicles attempted to transport high-value detainees out of the Alder district, they ran into something unexpected. Not police resistance, civilian resistance. Hundreds of people flooded the streets, linking arms, blocking intersections. This wasn't spontaneous outrage. It was organized, timed, and deliberate. Armored vans were struck with ice-packed snowballs, windows rattled, drivers were boxed in. Commanders knew the risk. One wrong move would turn a law enforcement operation into a viral disaster. Weapons stayed lowered. Instead, a final option was deployed, a long-range acoustic device. The sound wasn't loud, it was painful. Within seconds, the crowd broke formation, hands flying to ears as the blockade collapsed, just long enough for the convoy to escape. But the distraction had worked, because while agents were focused on the street, something else was happening. Inside a federal data center, the lights went out. Emergency generators failed to engage. Servers went dark. Cybersecurity teams realized instantly this wasn't a power failure. It was a wiper attack, designed to erase every digital trace seized during the raids. Targeted files included scanned ledgers, encrypted communications, and financial records linking the network to political donors. With seconds to spare, agents physically severed the facility's fiber lines. The malicious upload froze at 97%. The evidence survived. Then came the final shock. Forensic tracing of the attack didn't lead overseas. It didn't lead to criminal infrastructure. It led to an IP address registered to Northbridge Municipal Data Services, City Hall. The next 72 hours changed Northbridge forever. Federal agents appeared at police roll calls with handcuffs. Campaign offices were searched. Donations were frozen. Public officials resigned overnight. Final numbers confirmed the scale. 412 total arrests, $48 million in lethal substances seized, 25 public officials indicted, 1 legal institution permanently shut down. The drug supply in the city dropped by more than half in a single week, but the real damage wasn't chemical, it was moral. Because Operation Iron Veil revealed something far more dangerous than drugs: the weaponization of trust. The network didn't hide in alleyways. It hid behind credentials, behind nonprofits, behind legal language and community slogans. In modern America, the safest place for a criminal enterprise isn't the shadows, it's legitimacy. If a law office can be a mask, if a badge can be bought, if justice itself can be rented, then the real question isn't how this happened. The question is, how many times is it still happening right now?